The pet store, usually a symphony of chirps, barks, and purrs during the day, transformed into a strangely eerie space after closing. As the sole overnight attendant, my job was to monitor the animals, restock supplies, and occasionally deal with the late-night anxieties of a few particularly vocal dogs. Tonight, however, the silence was what struck me first. Not the usual quiet of sleeping animals, but an unnatural, heavy stillness that settled over the rows of cages and tanks, punctuated only by the low hum of filtration systems. It was 1 a.m., and every instinct told me something was deeply wrong. I started my rounds in the bird section, expecting the usual soft chirps or rustles, but the cages were unnervingly silent. Even the normally boisterous parrots were perched stiffly, their eyes wide and unblinking, staring intently at the darkened hallway leading to the back storage rooms. A shiver ran down my spine. Animals often sense things humans don't, and their collective apprehension was palpable, a chilling contrast to their usual playful demeanor. I moved on, my flashlight beam cutting through the dimness, a growing sense of dread pooling in my stomach.
In the small animal section, the rabbits huddled together in their enclosures, their noses twitching erratically as if smelling something unseen. The hamsters, usually busy on their wheels, were frozen. And then I heard it, a faint, repetitive scratching sound coming from behind the large dog kennels at the very back of the store, near the loading dock door. It was irregular, not like a dog scratching itself, more like something trying to claw its way into or out of something. My heart began to thump a little faster. I cautiously approached the kennels, my flashlight beam dancing nervously across the metal bars. The scratching stopped abruptly as I got closer. I stood there, listening, the silence now even more oppressive than before. "Hello?" I called out, my voice barely a whisper. No response. I peered into the large empty kennel at the very end, usually reserved for larger breeds. Nothing. Just the faint smell of wet dog fur and antiseptic. I was about to dismiss it as nothing when I noticed something unsettling. On the concrete floor inside the empty kennel, there was a fresh, deep scratch mark, several inches long, that hadn't been there when I locked up. It was too low for any of our current dogs to make, and it looked suspiciously sharp, like something with claws. My eyes widened. A sudden realization hit me. The air had felt colder back here, and there was a faint metallic tang in the air, almost like ozone. It was then I heard a soft, scuttling sound behind the rows of shelves lining the back wall near the emergency exit. My mind raced. Was someone hiding back there? Had they broken in? The emergency exit was supposed to be alarmed, but sometimes the system malfunctioned. I backed away slowly, my eyes scanning the shadows. As I retreated, I heard the faint clink of something metallic, like a leash or a buckle, being dragged across the floor.
This was no animal. This was someone or something, deliberate and silent, moving in the darkness of my workplace. I hurried to the main control panel, my hands trembling as I tried to pull up the security camera feeds. The screen flickered, then went blank. My stomach dropped. The entire system had gone offline. Simultaneously, a loud, distressed yelp erupted from one of the dog kennels, a sound of pure fear, followed by a series of frantic barks and growls from the other dogs, now agitated and terrified, breaking the earlier silence. They knew. They could sense it. Then, from the back of the store, beyond the dog kennels, I heard a low, raspy whisper, almost a snarl. It wasn't quite human, filled with a guttural quality that sent shivers down my spine. It seemed to be circling, weaving through the aisles, drawing closer with each muffled sound. The dogs were now barking hysterically, scratching at their cages, their panic mirroring my own. The air grew heavy, thick with a malevolent presence that made every hair on my arms stand on end. Suddenly, all the lights in the store blinked once, then died, plunging the entire space into suffocating darkness. The emergency lights, usually quick to respond, remained stubbornly off. The only illumination came from the faint glow of the street lights outside, casting eerie, distorted shadows through the front windows. And in that terrifying darkness, I heard the distinct click of the main loading dock door unlatching, a sound that meant escape was no longer an option from that direction. Adrenaline surged through me. My heart was a hammer against my ribs. I knew with chilling certainty that whatever was here intended to trap me. I didn't hesitate. I spun around and sprinted for the front door, slamming my body against the emergency bar. It gave way with a screech, and I burst out into the cold night air, not stopping until I was far away, the terrified barks of the animals echoing behind me. The police found the security system tampered with and the back door unlocked, but no one was ever found. The memory of that raspy whisper and the pure terror in the animal's eyes still makes me look over my shoulder every time a light flickers.